A pleasant day to all. So today I am going to present to you these three activities. First, the language samples. Second is the parenting manual. And lastly, the language acquisition plan. So let us have first the language samples. To analyze the language development of a child, I collected some language samples from my little brother named Ramzan. So he was 1 year and 5 months old, and Ramzan is a male. So that day, I didn't actually took a video. Instead, nag-observe na lang ako kung ano ang mga salitang nabanggit niya. And I actually asked a permission to my mom to do this. So here, I just wrote it na lang. So, conversation between Ramzan and mom. So, Ramzan, Mama Coco. Mom, oh sweetie, you want to watch Coco Melon again? Ramzan, Coco please. Mom, alright, we can watch Coco Melon for a little while. It's time for some fun and singing. Mom turned on Coco Melon and Ramzan happily start watching and singing along. Transcribe and analyze the phonological features. Reduplication. The toddler uses Coco for Cocomelon. This is a common phonological feature in toddler speech where they simplify longer words by using only part of them. Phonological processes. The use of please instead of please by the toddler demonstrates typically phonological processes at this age where certain consonant and blends may be simplified. And for the morphological features, is pluralizations. There are no example of pluralization in this conversation, as it's typical for a toddler of this age to use mostly single nouns. And for the syntactic features, simplified sentence structure. The toddler sentences are simple and consist of noun phrases and single words, which is characteristic of their age in language development. Use of imperative. The mother used the imperative sentence, turn on Cocomelon, to instruct the action of starting the show. Use of politeness. The use of please in the toddler's request, Coco please, shows an early understanding of politeness markers. Response. The mother responds with a more complex sentence introducing the concept of for a little while, which adds some syntactic complexity compared to the toddler's utterances. Comment on any deviations from typical language development. So, there are no significant deviations from typical language development for a 1 year and 5 months old toddler. So, the child's speech and language use are consistent with what is expected at this stage of development. However, it's important to note that language development can vary between individual children, and minor variation in pronunciation or vocabulary are common and not necessarily indicative of a deviation from the norms. In this context, the toddler's language use appear age appropriate and developmentally on track. So let's proceed to parenting manual. So the goal of this parenting manual is to empower new parents with practical guidance, evidence-based strategies, and emotional support to foster a secure and enriching environment for their child's holistic development, ensuring a foundation for lifelong well-being. So here are the tips for new parents that can foster a child first language acquisitions. So number one is sing to your baby and play music often. Music makes a difference, whether it's listening to their favorite Cocomelon song or singing nursery rhymes all day long. Research supports a connection between an enriched musical environment and infancy promotes the development of communication skills. Number two is talk to your baby while including gestures and other noises. Before babies can even begin forming words, they recognize changes in pitch, volume, and other elements of communications. So, Rachel Cortez, a licensed speech language therapist, explained to the Child Mind Institute that babies begin to notice the reciprocal relationship between vocalization and getting their needs met. This encourages them to begin intentionally communication their needs through things like pointing in body language and making more sounds. So even though your baby isn't able to engage in the conversations using word yet, they are paying attention to everything that you do and will use that as the base for developing their communication skills. So number three is read frequently and often. Countless studies show the relationship between reading and strong language development. No matter how young they are, reading to their child helps with their letter and word recognitions as well as expanding their vocabulary. Many children's books inspire their imagination and use words and descriptions that wouldn't typically come up during regular conversations. So, number four is narrations. There are two main ways you can work narration into everyday interaction with your toddlers. So, the first is to talk about what you are doing. I am folding the laundry, for example, or I am making a tasty snack for you. The second is talking about what your child is doing, like you are using the block to build, or you are driving the car and moving its wheels. It is a green car. Describing what you are doing or what you see your child doing help them turn words into phrases and eventually sentences. So number five is dramatic play. Playing pretend isn't only great for the imagination, it will also help enhance your kiddos' language skills. Engaging in dramatic play is a great way to encourage your child to create storylines, plots, characters, and emotions, all of which will help with increasing vocabulary and putting together phrases and sentences. Number six is use open ended questions. Don't box your child in by asking just yes or no questions. Ask questions that leave room for explanations. Sometimes you might be surprised at the tangent they end up on, creating an entirely different conversations. So, number seven is don't correct or criticize. Just like everything else we learn in life, there will be a learning curve with your child language development. If their tenses, verb, or pronunciation are off, don't jump to correct or criticize them. They may interpret this feedback negatively and be reluctant their to keep trying on, or they'll feel like embarrassed. Instead, try to repeating the sentence back with the correct verbiage. Here are the activities that can parent apply to their child's. First is picture flashcards. Create or buy picture flashcards with common objects. Say the name together and encourage your child to repeat. Number two is sing along sessions. Sing nursery rhymes or simple songs with repetitive lyrics. This helps with vocabulary and rhythm. Third is animal sounds. Make animal sounds together and say the names of the animals. Ask your child to mimic the sounds or to imitate the sound. Labeling body parts. Point to different body parts and say their names. This activity is not only language focused but also promote body awareness. And lastly is counting games. Count finger, toes, or everyday objects. Incorporate counting into your conversations. Remember, child develop at their own pace. There's a wide range of normal development. Celebrate your child milestones, no matter how small, to boost their confidence. So by incorporating these tips into your daily interactions, you're creating a supportive environment that stimulates your child's language acquisitions. Enjoy the beauty moments as you watch your little one embark on the exciting journey of language development. So, okay, let's move on to the last part, the language acquisition plan. So, here are the child profile. Um, one age is 1 year and 5 months. The background is the child named Ramzan is growing up in a multilingual environment. Ramzan's family speaks both Maranao and English at home. Both parents are proficient in both languages. The linguistic context is Ramzan is exposed to Maranao and English interchangeably at home, with each parent consistently using one language. So here are my language acquisitions plan. So from age 1.5 up to 2, or the early exposure, month 1 to 6. The milestone is to recognize and respond to basic commands in both Maranao and English. Begin to produce a few simple words in both language. So for the activities, he can engage in playing activities that involve naming objects and actions in both Maranao and English. Incorporate both languages into daily routines such as mealtime and bedtime. And for the assessment, observe Ramzan's ability to understand and respond to basic commands in both languages. Track the emergence of early words in both Maranao and English. And for the age 2 up to 2.5, or the vocabulary expansion, months is 7 up to 12. The milestone is to increase vocabulary to about some 20 to 30 words in each language. Begin combining two words to form simple phrases in both Maranao and English. So the activity she can do is to read bilingual picture books, emphasizing naming objects in both languages. Encourage Ramzan to point to and name object in both languages during various activities. So the assessment is to evaluate Ramzan's growing vocabulary in both Maranao and English. Observe his ability to combine words in both language to express basic needs. So ongoing multilingual support beyond age 3. So the milestone is to continue expanding vocabulary in both languages, incorporating more abstract concepts, develop more complex sentence structures in both Maranao and English. So the activity is to introduce age-appropriate games and puzzles that involve language skills in both languages. Provide exposure to age-appropriate books and media in both Maranao and English. And assessment is periodically evaluate Ramzan's use of a diverse vocabulary in both languages. Assist him ability to construct more complex sentences in both Maranao and English. So that's it. Thank you very much.